The timeline of Philippine history.
1521, Ferdinand Magellan discovers the islands and names them Archipelago of San Lazaro. 1542, Spanish expedition commanded by Roy Lopez de Villalobos claims the islands for Spain, names them Philippines after Prince Philip, later King Philip II of Spain. The Philippines becomes part of Spanish Empire. 1872, Fathers Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, also known as Gumburza, were executed by the Spaniards. 1887, Jose Rizal publishes anti-Spanish novel Nalimitangere and sears up independence sentiment. 1892, Jose Rizal founded the civic organization de La Liga Filipina. 1896, Katipuneros tear their cedulas and shout in contempt of the Spaniards in what is called the Cry of Pugad Lawin. Spanish execute Rizal for instigating insurrection, public outrage, Spanish rebellion. 1897, General Emilio Aguinaldo established the new Republic Act at Piak na Bato in Bulacan. 1898, American warship Maine was blown up in Havana Harbor, triggers the Spanish-American War. The Battle of Manila Bay ensues. 1898, Emilio Aguinaldo assembled the Malolos Congress in Bulacan, then declares independence in Kawit, Cavite. 1899, Treaty of Paris ends the Spanish-American War, cedes Philippines to U.S. after payment to Spain by U.S. of $20 million. Emilio Aguinaldo declares independence, then leads a guerrilla war against U.S. 1901, U.S. captures Aguinaldo. William Howard Taft arrives as first U.S. Governor of Philippines. 1902, insurrection ends. Taft improves economic conditions, settles disputes over church ownership of lands, establishes pensionado program, allowing Filipinos to study in U.S., which helped modernize and westernize the country. 1916, U.S. Congress passes the Jones Law establishing elected Filipino legislature with House and Senate. 1934, U.S. Congress approves the Tardings-McDuffie Law, promising Philippine independence by 1946. Transition to independence begins. 1935, Filipino people approve Constitution creating the Philippine Commonwealth with Manuel Quezon y Molina as president. 1941, Japanese invaded the Philippines and defeat General Douglas MacArthur at Bataan and Corrector. Quezon establishes government in exile in the U.S. 1944, Quezon dies in exile. Vice President Sergio Osmeña assumes the presidency. MacArthur returns to the Philippines and lands in Leyte with little resistance. 1945, General MacArthur liberates Manila and President Osmeña establishes government. 1946, the U.S. gave the Philippines independence and Manuel Rojas y Aconia elected as the first president of the new republic. 1965, Ferdinand E. Marcos was elected by a big majority as president. 1972, martial law was declared by President Marcos. This period was marked with human rights abuses and corruption. 1981, Marcos leave martial law. 1983, opposition leader Benigno Ninoy Aquino returns from exile and was assassinated on arrival at Manila International Airport. Aquino's widow, Quezon, leads the People Power protest movement. 1986, Marcos was officially declared winner in a presidential election, beating Corazon Aquino. Amid charges of fraud, demonstration erupt. Marcos flees to Hawaii. Aquino was declared president and forms a new government. 1992, endorsed by Aquino. Her Secretary of Defense, General Fidel Ramos, wins presidential election. U.S.-Philippine Congress rejects a new treaty with the U.S. and Subic Bay Naval Base, and Clark Air Field returns to Philippine government, ending American military presence in the Philippines. 1996, the government of Ramos agrees to greater autonomy for southern island of Mindanao. Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, ends the guerrilla war with the government. 1997, Asian financial crisis grips Asia and the Philippines, escapes the crisis despite series of currency devaluation. 1998, former movie actor Joseph Estrada was elected president. 2000, on charges of corruption, the lower house impeached President Estrada. 2001, Estrada was forced to step down due to public outrage over corruption allegations. Vice President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo assumes the presidency. 2004, Arroyo narrowly defeat Poe, taking 39.5% of the vote to Poe's 36.6%. Arroyo was elected the 14th President of the Philippines. 2010, the first automated national election in the Philippines, and Benigno Noynoy Simeon Cojuangco Aquino III wins the presidential election and sworn in at Manila's Rizal Park on June 30, 2010. 2016, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, the former mayor of Davao City, was elected the 16th President of the Philippines. He is the first president to come from Mindanao. 2020, starting March 10, the many parts of the country, especially the National Capital Region, has been under various level of lockdown due to the coronavirus that started in Wuhan, China, and spread worldwide, turning the economy from the fastest growing in Asia into a recession.
Mga storyang dapat nating pag-usapan, dapat nating pag-aralan. Ito ang Tropa Storya.